She came to slay, quite literally. So I wasn't planning on covering Chappell Roan at the VMAs, but the moment I saw that sword, it was a done deal. I yelled out loud when I saw this picture, and I believe my exact words were, "This is such a lesbian power move. This is giving Gothic Joan of Arc back from the dead to take revenge on the patriarchy, and I'm here for it." Chappell Roan is already relevant to my interests, but Chappell Roan with a sword? This is all I'm going to talk about for the next decade. If there's two things lesbians love, it's women and it's swords. Don't believe me? Just take a look at the comments section of any woman who cosplays as a knight. I rest my case. If you see any comments from me, just mind your own business, okay? Chappell Roan knows and understands her audience, because she is her audience. Gay! And I have to say, I was really surprised and impressed by her performance of Good Luck Babe at the VMAs. I have not stopped thinking about it, actually. It was such a unique concept that really stood out against all of the other performances. I mean, all of the female artists who performed at the VMAs were incredible. All of them are powerhouses who brought their own unique talents to the table. This is not about kind of pitting artists against each other, because there's room for everybody. But I felt like Chappell's performance was purposefully artistically layered in a way that the other performances weren't. And it's fine for performances not to be artistically layered. I'm just saying. It was refreshing to see her go in the complete opposite direction of what I was expecting. Because I don't know about anybody else, but I was definitely expecting some kind of drag extravaganza or high fashion go-go dancers, something along these lines. But what she gave us was even better. Anyway, I've seen a lot of discussion and theories about her performance online, which I found really interesting. And I thought, why not sprinkle my own into the cake mix? Okay, as a disclaimer, this is just my interpretation of her performance. Other people may have different interpretations of certain things, and that's totally fine. And I also want to underline that everything that I'm discussing in this video in relation to Chappell herself are things which have been shared by her publicly. So I'm not trying to cross any boundaries, or at least I hope I'm not crossing any boundaries with this video. This video is just coming from a place of being a fan and taking an interest in her work and wanting to discuss it, which I hope is okay. So there are a lot of themes and visuals in Chappell's performance which are connected to the figure of Joan of Arc. And I'm sure most of you are already familiar with Joan of Arc, but if you're not, she was a peasant turned military leader in medieval France, and is significant in that she's a symbol of freedom and female empowerment, largely due to her courage and resolve, which allowed her to establish herself within a time where women were largely dismissed and forgotten, and also for her gender nonconformity and rejection of expectations placed on women at that time. In fact, her refusal to repent for and give up her gender nonconformity was a contributing factor in her execution. Joan of Arc's life was also heavily influenced and shaped by Christianity and oppressive misogynistic structures and attitudes. And all of these aspects of Joan of Arc's life provide a lot of context for the artistic layers and imagery in Chappell's performance. The performance opens with Chappell holding a lit crossbow, which she fires at the castle. And the castle may have just been included as an appropriate backdrop for the medieval theme, but castles also represent power, nobility, and patriarchy. And Chappell setting the castle ablaze could represent her anger against powerful, oppressive structures and her desire to burn down the establishment and all it represents. I also thought the fire had an interesting connection to what Chappell said in the comment section podcast interview she did, where she referred to her fame as a forest fire, and in a lot of ways her rise to fame as an independent lesbian artist and everything she stands for does threaten and go against the establishment, as well as the music industry itself. and so there could be further significance through her setting the castle on fire in that sense, with it signifying how her rise in fame as a subversive figure is a direct challenge to a powerful structure, which runs parallel to Joan of Arc, whose rise to fame as a peasant and a woman also threatened the establishment at the time too. The flames also take the shape of crucifixes upon the gates, and this imagery is interesting for a couple of reasons. Firstly, again, there's a connection to Joan of Arc, whose life was shaped by religious influence and ended with her being burned at the stake for heresy, so the burning crosses can be seen as symbolic of that. And secondly, they may also have a connection to Chappell's own Christian upbringing and the negative impact it has had on her sense of self and her relationship with her sexuality. So the crosses burning in the background are also potentially symbolic of her anger against the oppression and homophobia that Christianity promotes and upholds too. The fact that Chappell is surrounded by only men on stage also holds meaning. Firstly, it's reflective of the fact that Joan of Arc was one of the few women who was able to establish herself in a male-dominated military environment within a deeply patriarchal and misogynistic period of history. And secondly, the men surrounding Chappell also represent heteronormativity and male sexuality. We can see how Chappell is pushing against all of these men and pushing them away from her, which signifies that she is fighting against that male sexuality and heteronormativity. And this makes sense within the context of Good Luck Babe, which is about Chappell losing her female love interest to heteronormativity and to men because her love interest doesn't want to accept her sexuality. But it also potentially reflects her own struggles with navigating heteronormativity for herself. Again, we can see how it surrounds her and it's something that she consistently has to fight back against. And this also connects back to the imagery of the burning establishment and crosses in the background too, since Christianity and patriarchy both promote and uphold heteronormativity as the righteous norm, which is also what Chappell is fighting against. And at the end, the castle / the establishment is burnt out, the crosses are gone, and the men are vanquished, with Chappell still alive and left standing by herself. And this can be interpreted as her survival from that which sought to oppress her and gaining her freedom from heteronormativity and patriarchal expectations. Again, this theme of female empowerment in the face of oppressive structures has a connection to Joan of Arc, except in this performance, our Joan of Arc survives. Interestingly, the final shot has what looks to me to be women reaching out to Chappell, and I don't know if that was a coincidence or if it was purposefully framed that way to convey her connection with women after the defeat of heteronormativity and oppressive programming, so to speak. But in either case, the performance ends on a strong message of female empowerment, and it's cool as Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts on Chappell's performance and everything else related to the VMAs, especially in a lesbian way, down in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe for instant disappointment, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!